What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to give you guys a very quick update on the markets. Just note that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $2,000, you're guaranteed 30 in total. And the offer ends very soon at the end of March. So anyways, let's talk about the market right now. Right now, the market is seeing a lot of buyers who have returned. We're going to my price target of new all-time highs. We're very close to that. And at this point, we're going to be watching some very key levels. Now, just know that for the rest of the day, there's nothing too significant that's coming out. We just have the 20-year bond auction at 1 p.m. And besides that, there's nothing else that's too crazy. So what do I see for the market from this point on? I think that SPY could attempt to go a little higher. We're going to be looking at that 608 area. But then once we hit 608, I would be very careful because this is a chop zone. We were known for chopping between 608 and 604-ish for many weeks in the past. So if we do go up to about 608, we could see a little slowdown, some sideways price action like this before this thing officially starts to break out in either direction. But just keep that in mind, guys. There might be a lot of chop up here, so be careful at 608. If we do just slice through that, we could be going back up towards that, like, the 610s pretty easily, but I don't think we're ready yet. There might be a lot of chop up here, so be a little careful. So I think we could go a little higher for the 608s, but there might be a lot of chop coming once we hit these levels. So we have to give this some time and watch this range for now. So I hope that's as clear as possible. Same thing with the QQQ. We pumped very nicely to 533. I think we could attempt to get close to 535 to 533, but I just want to say that right now the QQQ is showing signs that there's very tough resistance up here. So yes, it could attempt to go a little higher, but there might be a lot of chop like this that's starting to form before we see some kind of break in either direction. I'll be watching this very closely. There might be a lot of sideways price action around 533. We did push to my target. I was calling out how this is going to likely pump a lot more. But if anything, it's very important to make sure that we, not only watch these levels, but we're prepared for the next step. So right now, okay, it is risky to be buying, like crazy, just loading the boats on, shares when the market's at these high levels. Not financial advice when I say that. I would just say to be very careful. And if anything, although it is possible for us to go a little higher, you want to be very careful because we are approaching some tough resistance. So be careful at these higher levels. For the IWM, we're at resistance right here. We were not able to break past 230. So there's going to be a risk of this dipping closer to about 227. So be careful. There could be a small dip right here if we can't break past 230 again. And there's also that gap to fill back down to about 225. So you want to be very careful when looking at that. On ES, I think we could try to go a little bit higher, but we're once again in this range of resistance. So the closer we get to about 6150, the more likely it is we see a lot of chop in the 6150 area. So could we go higher? Yes, I think we most likely can push to about 6150, but then we might see a lot of chop like this. And we'll see if we try to break past the all-time high to continue to push, or if we get a rejection. But I think there's going to be a lot of chop up here. That's what happened historically at this high level, so be a little bit careful with these key levels. Same thing with NQ. We pushed about 22,000, which is what my price target was. I think we pushed a little bit higher for about the 22,100s, but then we might see a lot of chop up there as well. So look for a little bit more upside on this to about the 22,100s, and we'll see what happens after that. If we break out of them, we're looking for the all-time high to be tested. If not, we could turn. Excuse me. So watch 22,100 is our target, and we'll see what happens from there. Bitcoin's trying to hold up. If we could try to hold up of 104,000, we're looking for a bounce to 106,000. We've done a good job so far at pushing up, but now we're in this range right here between 100 and 106,000, which is where I think we're going to be trading. So look for a bounce. As long as we hold up of 104,000, we could bounce for 106,000. For others out there, we have the Nvda stock, which is holding up very nicely. As long as 144 does not fail us, we could continue to push closer to about 150. I think there's more upside potential, but just know that there might be a lot of chop right here specifically. Tesla's on a very nice uptrend. It's holding support. There was a lot of bad news that came out involving the EV mandates and other factors like that, not to mention the big probe that's still going on from the NHTSA. But there was good news from Wedbush, which gave Tesla a very good rating. They think Tesla's going to run to about $550 a share by the end of the year. Overall, we have a nice accumulation right here, and we're holding this blue trend line. So as long as we're above the blue trend line, we favor upside. That's currently at 414. As long as we're above that, we're going to slowly uptrend for the 430s. If we lose 410, I will be a lot more concerned, and this could be dipping to 402 or below. But as of right now, we have not done that, and we're slowly uptrending on the blue trend line. So I think we're going to likely hold that as time goes on. For Apple, as long as we hold 220, we could try to bounce back up for 225. So we'll be watching to see if that holds or not. So watch that very closely. If 220 fails us, we could be dipping lower, but because Apple's holding it and it grabbed liquidity right over here, there's a good chance it tries to bounce a bit. So I just hope that 220 holds. As long as it does, Apple could try to bounce. For coin, we could be trying to revisit essentially 300. I think we might try to push a little bit higher for that. We'll see if we break that or not. If we lose 284, we turn back down. Otherwise, I think 300 is going to be tested and possibly even broken if we break it. For Amazon, we had 235 as our resistance. If we break that, we're looking for 237. And if we lose this, we're looking for a dip back down to 232. I'm favoring it's going to try to push a little bit higher for 237 plus. I think we're doing a good job. For Meta, we're also forming a nice double bottom right over here. If we lose 630, we could be dipping back down for 625. And as long as we're above this, we're looking for an attempt to push up to about 635. So I see upside in Meta. I also think that Microsoft is looking bullish. As long as we're above 440, we're looking for an attempt for 450 as a potential target, especially if you have this imbalance above. So look for more upside for 448 to 450 as long as you don't lose 440. And then Google looks a bit more bullish. We have a nice accumulation. We need to try to break 202. If we break that, we're looking for an attempt to get back up towards 205 and eventually 210. If we end up losing 200, we're looking for essentially 198 as our main support. So I think this is favoring upside as long as we end up holding above these key levels. With that being said, the market's doing a good job at holding our key levels, so we'll be watching all of them very, very closely. And just know that SPY is showing a lot of strength. It's going to likely try to push for new all-time highs. But as we approach the all-time high, very close to it, there might be a lot of chop once we get up there. So I just want to give you guys a warning about that. Yes, we could push a little bit more, but there might be a lot of chop up here once we get close to 608. Later on, we could break past it, but it may take some time to do that. So just heed my warning and do what you have to do. Thank you all so much for listening. Have a good rest of your day. I'll be back in about a couple of hours for one more update for the day. So until then, make sure you guys take care. One more thing I want to mention before I conclude the video is that the VIX is not really doing much right now. It's pretty much just stuck at the 15 area, just consolidating. So it's not really affecting the market as it typically does. We'll see if the VIX pivots here or not. Could that be a sign the market's about to form a top? I can't make any promises yet. The market remains bullish, but this doesn't guarantee anything yet. So for now, we're going to be waiting to see what the VIX does. It's just kind of stuck. It's only up about 0.5%. So I'm not really too worried about that, at least for now. Anyways, I thank you all so much for listening. Have a good rest of your day. Make sure you watch the levels I called out, and we'll see how things end up going. I do anticipate more upside for the markets. We are favoring bulls, but just be a little bit careful as we're approaching this resistance. All right, so thank you for listening, guys. Have a good one, and peace out.